to Sheeko Sheeko, another episode of the week. We have our lovely panelists back. Very nice to see you guys.
Woo! Yeah. Sheeko Sheeko!
I get to see you guys more and more often, and I'm happy about that.
Oh, yeah.
Before we even start, please follow us on social media. It's called Sheeko Sheeko 24 on all of our social medias except Twitter. We go by Sheeko Sheeko with that one. Let's do some introductions. I'm your host, Queen Book. I now have social media, so please follow me. It's going to come up around here. Let's start off with Bueller.
Hello, people.
All right. I just said your name.
Yeah,
so
you said my name.
Bueller.
Yeah.
All right.
Sammy Stars drinking that Sheeko water. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have burgers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The man with the hat.
Kareem. The birthday boy?
Oh yeah, it's the boy LJ. You know what it is. Back again, yet again.
LJ's legal in the States now.
And I'm allowed to legally be on YouTube too.
Yeah.
So
You just turned
finally.
18?
Yeah, finally turned 18.
Okay.
Was it 1973 when he just turned 18?
Oh, God.
E-Man does not let you shine at all.
I don't know why.
No shine.
Yeah, go
want
ahead,
me.
introduce yourself.
Amen.
Amen. And we have a lovely guest that goes by the name Khadija. How are you?
I'm good. Hey guys.
Yes, you are visiting from all the way from London.
Yep, London.
How's your trip?
I absolutely love it here. It's my second time, so so far so good.
I just want to let you guys, she has a wonderful accent, and I'm going to try my very best not to sound like you, or not to sound ratchet when you talk.
I'll tweak it for you, don't worry.
Okay, tweak it for me, all right? You are actually on YouTube yourself. You are on a channel that goes by the name Asha Everyday.
Yep.
Check them out, guys. They are hilarious.
My name's Ash Anyway, I'm joking. Okay, I can listen to happy of the day. So treat out. Tell me about
So many different topics you guys touch. And today we're going to be talking about a new initiative you have called Real Men
Empower Women.
Empower Women.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Real Men Empower Women is a social media campaign that's targeted to involve men in issues affecting women. A lot of the times there's a stigma attached to men talking about issues that affect women.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a very cultural shame kind of taboo thing going on.
Right.
So that was really just the driving force behind the campaign. I wanted to break down the social barriers that prevent men from publicly speaking out and saying, I support women's issues, I support women's rights.
Right.
It's not about whether you're a feminist or whether you are or aren't. It's just at the end of the day, if you want to just have a platform where you can speak up about these issues,
Right.
This is the platform.
Is this for the Somali community, or is it just for everybody in general?
No, it's for everyone in general. I didn't want to limit it specifically to just the Somali community because it is an issue that affects women from different communities. So, yeah.
What made you start it? Like, what was it that you stood up and said, you know what, this needs to happen, this campaign, this initiative needs to be created? What brought that on?
I noticed that when I would go to a lot of talks and events where they would address issues affecting women, it was the same thing, a panel of women talking to a bunch of women, and it just got me thinking, like, the issue isn't necessarily that women aren't educated enough about it, maybe it's because we're not really including men, and there wasn't really a platform that did that, and I wanted to create that, so I did.
Yeah. Well, since we're a show that talks about issues that happen in the Somali community, I'm just going to bring it back to that. Do you find that men in the Somali community empower women that are Somali, or is it the other way around?
I don't think it's necessarily a case of which way it is, because at the end of the day, an individual's empowerment shouldn't lie in someone else's hands.
Right.
But with Somali men, I feel like they support Somali women, they just don't speak up about their support.
Okay.
So it's there, but it's just no one vocalizes it, I think, not enough people.
Do you guys vocalize, LJ, for instance, for yourself? Are you all about the empowerment of Somali women? And if you are, do you vocalize it or don't vocalize it? Or does our culture choose, like, actually almost promote not to vocalize it?
I wouldn't say our culture doesn't. That is actually that's a really good point that you're saying. Like, a lot of people don't talk about it, specifically men.
Right.
Right? Like, in our culture, we feel like talking about a relationship sometimes, like, oh, he's talking about his personal relationship.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there is a lot of Somali men that obviously empower, you know what I mean? They just don't vocally speak about it.
Right.
But I think that's a really good thing to do, to actually start talking about it.
Yeah. Do we need? So in our show, we have a segment called Somali Excellence. We promote anybody that is doing amazing things in our community, and most of the time, actually, I'm going to say, correct me if I'm wrong. Our producer is behind us, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm going to say they're all women, right? Yeah. Somali Excellence, and this time around, it goes out to shout out to Wasan Shire. Now, Weston Shide is a award-winning poet. She was just on a project by none other Beyonce on her 6th studio album, Lemonade.
The 28-year-old poet behind Beyonce's words in Lemonade.
Armed with her accolades and a high ACT score, Munira researched and applied to all 8 Ivy League schools, plus Stanford, Georgetown, and the University of Minnesota. She was accepted to all of them.
Right? So there's not a lot of men that are in our community that are doing just up there, you know, frontline amazing things for the community. Do you think that we need a campaign to empower men to get up, to do things? Kareem, I'm going to throw it at you.
I don't know. I don't think we necessarily need. Maybe I don't understand your question, but so
You better understand it. Figure it out.
Yes. No, I think within the community, I think everybody should be empowered to do what they want to do. Like, and it's both men and women, right? So one stigma, at least in the city of Toronto, a lot of people, when they talk about the community, they say, you know, the girls, the women are doing good and excellent things, and the guys are the ones that are being led astray and getting into legal trouble and all those sorts of things, right? So if you focus too heavily on one side of things, you're going to neglect the other, and it ends up being, you know, one is going to compensate the other.
Bueller, Sam, he just brought up another point that I was going to bring. That was one of my other questions. Is that why is it in our culture that there is more responsibility on the woman, again, to cook, clean, to find a good job, whatever. It's almost expected, and then the men they get to take a step back and have a more relaxed role. Why isn't that when did that happen, and why is that happening in our community?
Well, I guess you can go back into history and talk a little bit about, for example, in Canada now we've gone from a manufacturing industry where you used to make cars and, you know, whatever equipment you're making, but now it's more of a service economy.
Right.
So it's, you know, get on the phone, can I help you with your whatever problem you have with the bank, or, you know what I mean? Women tend to do very well in service type of environments because a lot of times people want to be serviced by women. You know what I mean? Like at restaurants and things like that. So in this society or this economy, it's a little bit more difficult, especially for young men this age, in this time, to get a job in manufacturing or to compete with women in service. Because women are just prettier. You know, let's face it, they're more beautiful, they have nicer voices, you know what I mean? They're more pleasant, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Rebuttal time.
Rebuttal, yeah.
But I don't think it's always true like that. But what I'm saying is I don't necessarily agree that men should take a step back. But I feel like if you're in an underemployed situation or you're unemployed, I guess people kind of become apathetic. They fall back on government services and they kind of just get lazy in a way, right?
Right.
But going back to the empowerment of women, I believe that once you empower women, especially the younger the better, you empower their brothers and their other siblings as well. Because if, for example, if you have, like, theoretically, if you have a woman who has the most contact with the child, right? And that woman is literate, she's good at mathematics or whatever, or she can just convey herself without having to scream and hit people.
Right.
She's teaching her children and all the kids in the neighborhood, because it really takes an entire community to raise a child properly.
Yeah.
You could raise a really weird child, you know what I mean? If you just leave in front of a TV, let BET raise them. You don't want that. You know what I mean? You don't want a world star child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want a global citizen type of child. So the more you empower women, the more you're empowering the household and the community in general.
Yeah.
So I'm all for the empowerment of women, for sure, 100%.
Shout out to World Star, my news network. Khadija, you wanted to
just
jump
to
in.
say, I don't think it's a case of people like to be serviced by women. It's just the society we live in.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned to believe that's women's roles. It has nothing to do with what we prefer, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I just wanted to correct you.
Yeah.
Iman, hey, how you doing, girl?
Hi.
Yeah. Going back to what Kareem said, he said that in our community, yes, there is. You may not agree that it's always like that, but Somali women are doing a little bit more than Somali men. What is your take on that? Why is that, and what's up with our men? What kind of advice do you have for them?
It's not what's up with our men. I just think historically, like back in the days, women usually stayed at home and take care of the kids, and the man would go to work. Now switch over to this country or wherever country you are in now. This is a two-person job world where you both have to work. You can't. You know, the economy involves you both working. So now it's like she has to go to work, but she still has to have that same role at home. There's no break, right? It's like you go to work, and then you come home and you take care of the kids, you put them to bed.
Right.
Other than that, I can understand, like, nowadays I see men doing more. I don't know about back then. A lot of my friends who are married, they take turns. Like, the guy will cook or the girl will cook. I don't really see this whole historical woman does everything and goes to work anymore personally, but maybe with our older parents. But I think this generation of people, we split it 50-50, especially in Canada.
Right.
I don't. My friends don't run home and say, I gotta cook or else my man's gonna kill me.
Right.
It's like, I'm lazy, I'm gonna stop at Popeyes and just get us something to eat.
Yeah.
It's more westernized. At least from where I see it. I guess different people have different ways of going about it,
Right.
but we've evolved over time, right? So it's not like I'm gonna marry a girl because she's a good cook and cleaner. It's like, no, she's educated, she works, and I love her for that.
Yeah. So going back to empowerment, because this is about real issues that are affecting women. So health issues, mental issues, whatever that's happening, work issues. Why is it that we as women, when you look at just protests, right? So there's a protest happening, Black Lives Matter. I'm just going to use as an example. There are a lot of women out there that are protesting for our brothers, even though statistically, if you look, it's our black brothers that are being killed and less of us women. But when it's the other way around, right? And there's a protest for
female genital mutilation.
Thank you very much. There's not a lot of men. There's always women. Why is it that it's not why is it that they can't root for us, but we root for our men?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've spoken to guys, and to my face, they tell me, yeah, I completely support this cause or that cause. And when I ask them, why don't you ever vocalize it? It's a case of, well, it's kind of embarrassing. If I'm with my guy friends, we don't talk about it. It just won't come up. And I'm afraid that if I speak up about it,
right.
I'll be looked at, I don't know, as less of a man, which doesn't make sense to me, but I think that's like a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
They don't talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I see what you're saying. I think it's more a lack of empathy. Like it's a kind of ignorance thing, right? So it's not that we don't care. It's like I never know anything about a woman's struggle unless my sister tells me. You know what I mean? Because I grew up with my sisters are all about girl power and all that. And any issue, it's just a lack of empathy. So girls will go out of their way because they empathize more, right? So like I'll give you an example. Like my sister wanted to be in medical school, right? And she got accepted, but I was a bit of a troublemaker.
Mashallah.
And she asked me, she really sat down and asked me, she's like, yo, when did you start messing up, and when did life get real for you? I was like, yo, probably around grade 11, you know? Mm-hmm. And she dropped medical school. She went to teaching school. She became a high school teacher, grade 11 math.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's the level of empathy that females have that guys don't.
Right.
Like, it's unless.
So wait, you're saying she changed her program
because of me?
Because of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah, and I felt bad because I asked her that, and I'm like, yo, did you switch the whole scene for? And she's like, yeah, man, I because it was hurting her how I was going through life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she couldn't. It just didn't make sense for her not to do something about it. That's just in her DNA, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that's the difference. Really, is like the ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Females have that a lot better than men do, and it's just a lack of. I will not know any struggle unless I'm told, yo, this is why this is happening.
No, I understand.
Shit, okay, shit's getting real. We got to do something about it. I can't help it.
Right.
Do you guys also think that because we've been so segregated as a culture and as a religion, that we do everything separately? When we